All right, everyone. Big news in the Yankees world. I would call this an emergency video, but this is almost what's a good emergency. I don't know what exactly that is, but this is a great emergency because the Yankees got back DJ LeMahieu and they signed Corey Kluber. Big day in the Yankees world. They also filled out some arbitration, so this is just our instant reaction to everything that went down on the Good Friday, if you want to call it. Nick, what are your first reactions to the Yankees signing DJ LeMahieu back?
So you're right. This is definitely the good equivalent to an emergency. I can't think of what that would be. Maybe kind of like a surprise party is the only thing to come to my mind. So you and I both had the same thoughts that the Yankees DJ process was being overblown by fans, not to bid against themselves. And we ended up being completely right. If you look at what DJ got, $15 million a year. I know some people are getting a little bit scared at the 6 years part, but $90 million was what we kind of thought the price point was going to be for DJ in general. So to spread that out over 6 years is super advantageous to the Yankees because that gives them more room under the luxury tax to make moves like we saw yesterday with Corey Kluber. So hand up, I was a little bit nervous that Cashman wasn't going to make another move like a Kluber. I thought maybe he was going to let the DJ thing drag out, which, again, I understand why he did that instead of just saying, fine, here's the 5-110 like DJ's agent wanted. But I was wrong. Cashman, immediately after getting the DJ deal done, goes out and gets a starting pitcher in Corey Kluber, who is a guy with a ton of upside. So you're right. Great day for the Yankees yesterday.
Yeah, somebody I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget it. Someone give out some free tacos because the Yankees just got a steal.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I could live with that.
If we lose subscribers for that one, I accept. No, but the Yankees pull off a huge 6-year, $90 million contract. Like you said, it keeps the balance not only in like the salary cap space of the Yankees, but it also keeps the balance in the lineup that DJ absolutely provides and is key for it. He's probably the one guy that doesn't strike out with a lot of consistency. So I mean, it was huge to get him back. We pretty much bring back, I think, the whole starting lineup now. Assuming minimal trades happen. Maybe if Clint goes, then that's a different story. But pretty much the whole starting lineup that we had from last year, bring back. And I don't know if it's the pitcher in me, but I absolutely love the Corey Kluber signing. More than just the fact that, all right, he's proven. There's a few reasons. One, he's going to be an incredible mentor to Deivi Garcia, to Clark Schmidt, and maybe even to Jordan Montgomery. You pair that type of mentality, someone who knows what they're talking about when it comes to actual pitching. You pair that with Garrett Cole, who's already someone who's studies the game day in, day out. I mean, those guys are going to have a wealth of knowledge for years to come. Even if Corey Kluber is just here this year, what they learn behind him is going to be incredible and extremely useful. Pairing that with his really unique ability, and I think this is what has won him Cy Youngs in the past, his ability to tunnel. And I'm not sure if you know what that means, Nick, but if before I explain it, go follow Pitching Ninja for anyone who doesn't on Twitter. He's one of the best baseball follows you can possibly have. He breaks down pitching in a way that is actually pretty enjoyable and entertaining, but it's just so knowledgeable. I've learned so much from that account. So if you want to learn more about baseball in general, give Pitching Ninja a follow. But essentially what tunneling is the spin on the ball is going to look exactly the same, and it's coming in the same exact location. So it's just coming through a tunnel, in the batter's eye. So he's seeing a pitch and he sees a fastball on the outside corner the whole way, and most of the time, so the first pitch would be a fastball on the outside corner. The next pitch is going to be a fastball or a two-seam that starts in the outside corner, looks like a fastball, but then comes back in. Or he does it great, his slider that comes back out, and it starts in that same exact spot. So you don't know where that pitch is going up until the moment that it breaks one way or the other. And Corey Kluber does that to an elite level. And that's something that I think that Garrett Cole does really well and that Clark Schmidt and Deivi Garcia need to get better at and can make them light years better pitcher. Because when you don't know what's coming, you're not going to hit it. And regardless if it's going to be at 90 miles an hour or 92 miles an hour or a slider coming in at 84, I think that Kluber is so good at it, it's not going to matter regardless if his velocity went down. So past that, I am very scared about his injury that he only threw one inning last year. and it was a shoulder injury, but apparently he's rehabbed fully and totally good to go. So I'm because of the reason I just said, I'm super excited about Corey Kluber.
Yeah, you hit on a lot of things there, and you're completely right. His mentality is perfect for the Bronx. He's a bulldog. He's a guy that we've seen throw 200 innings, win Cy Youngs. Do I think he's going to be that pitcher coming off 2 consecutive seasons where he hasn't pitched much? No. But the Yankees don't necessarily need him to be that kind of guy. That's what Garrett Cole is for them. Corey Kluber needs to be a guy who potentially can just stay healthy, give them a chance to win every 5th day, and be a guy they can call on in the playoffs to win games. So if you look at what he got, the contract, people were saying he was going to get maybe 6 to 8 million. 11 isn't the worst thing in the world. The only thing that concerns me is this can't be the last move the Yankees make to address the starting rotation. They need to bring in one other guy, whether that's a trade, whether that's signing a guy like Tanaka, even if it's taking a flyer on somebody like a Taiwan Walker, someone who's going to be low cost and isn't going to be a world beater at the top of your rotation, but just a guy that can eat innings and take the ball. Because as much as I hate Jay Happ, he hit 8 innings for us last year. Tanaka
weren't good innings
a lot, stays out there. So they bring in a guy in Kluber with a lot of upside, but at the end of the day, you also wouldn't be shocked to hear, he started 2 games in April, felt something weird in his shoulder, and he shut down till August. So it's not a move that necessarily guarantees the Yankees rotation is better, but it's a low risk, high reward move. And I think it's one that if you look at where the Yankees are at right now, if they supplement it with another lower risk, lower reward move, then I would absolutely love the Corey Kluber signing.
Yeah, I agree, Nick. We were texting about it, but the primary, or I think our optional or optimal rotation right now is Cole, Hendricks / Castillo, whatever it is, Kluber, Montgomery, or Herman, and then Schmidt / Garcia, some combination of that. So I think Kluber is, under these circumstances, the best number 3 guy you can possibly get. I just don't know if he's the best number 2 option, but for all the reasons that I said, I think he has potential to be a really good number 2. Just, everything's got to play out perfectly, and that, when does that ever happen? So I don't know. I'm just such a big fan of it. I think for $11 million, you're basically getting a player coach, someone who's really going to know what they're talking about. Is it the last move they need to make? No, but it was a very good Friday for Yankees baseball, and I do think that we got a lot better yesterday. Mm-hmm. Plus, there's the fact that the Yankees did very well in arbitration. So I got pulled up all the contracts just so we kind of have those numbers for us. Judge, $10.75 million, really good. Gleyber, 4. Gary, 6.35, not ideal, but not much of a raise. Gio, 4.6. Luke, Voigt, 4.7. Montgomery, 2.13. Clint, 2.1. Chad Green, 2.15. So that's a big core of your team. And combined, what is that, like $26 million, give or take? So not bad. Most of the money obviously going to Giancarlo and now DJ and Cole, but for the rest of that core of that team, Yankees are looking pretty solid.
For everything you just mentioned, that's all the more reason for the Yankees to go all in, because some of those decisions on guys are going to come up within the next year, 2 years, 3 years from now. This window is great for a lot of reasons, not just the fact that how competitive the Yankees have been the past few years, and the fact that Garrett Cole is in the middle of his prime and you're paying him $36 million a year. But because you have guys like Voigt making under $5 million, Gio making under $5 million, Aaron Judge at $10 million is a steal. I don't care if he only plays 100 games. That's still a steal. It really is. So looking at all that, it's why I want the Yankees to, like you just touched on, make a trade for a legitimate number 2 starter in either Hendricks or Castillo. And I think they need to go a little bit over the 210 luxury tax threshold. I think they could stay under 230, which is the next cutoff point, the next threshold, and still field a lot better of a team than if they stay under 210. Because you're talking about the difference between 210, 230. You're talking about another starter, another reliever, and a bench bat. Yeah. So you're either going to go into this team with it pretty much, and I say on paper, and everyone gets mad at me, on paper means nothing. Yeah, no shit, it means nothing. But the only goal at this point is to build the best team on paper. So you can go in with a nearly perfect team on paper if you make those moves and go to around 230. But if you stay under 210, this team is going to have holes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the biggest holes right now are you're kind of finding it in the rotation, like a good number 2, or arguably 2 good number 3s, if that makes sense. Like someone you can go 1-3-3, and then Montgomery, Garcia, Schmidt can be like that 4-5 area depending on who's pitching well. So I wouldn't hate 2-3s, but then it's like come playoff time, you got to just hope one of them pitches well. And then let's just get one more good bullpen guy. So I think the Yankees are right there. It's just like 2 little more moves that Cashman just needs to just do this much more,
No, I agree. So I think my article was about the bullpen this week. So I was kind of going through some of the options. If you look at the Yankee bullpen, they still have a great back end in Greenberg and Chapman. Ottavino is a guy I would love to move. I don't think so. I think he's just a guy that they're going to need to hope bounces back this year, because at $9 million, he's honestly a liability at this point. But there's a lot of options within that I think they're looking at guys who can potentially step up, whether it's a Nick Nelson, a Brooks Kriske, a Jonathan Loizaga. If you're asking that guy to be like your 6th, 7th inning guy, your 4th or 5th option out of the bullpen, I'm okay with them staying, we're going to stand pat and stay from within. I do still think, especially if they go over 210 a little bit, that they'll be able to bring in someone at a bargain, whether it's a Keone Kela, a Shane Green, and Alex Colome. I think that there will be a guy towards the end of the offseason that'll take a little bit less and come pitch for the Yankees. But within the rotation, you said it, Luis Severino is a guy that could totally be a number 2. He's coming off Tommy John surgery, won't be back till July, August. You can't bank on that. Corey Kluber could be a number 2. We just outlined why you can't bank on that. Domingo Germán's high end is probably like a number 3 starter. Hasn't pitched since 2019. So it's all guys that could step up, but you can't bank on it. If they go out and get a Kyle Hendricks, or somehow, even though I don't see it happening, a Luis Castillo, you have that 1A type guy to slot in right behind Cole, and your rotation instantly goes from just okay to one of the better ones in baseball.
Yeah, and we've seen in the past years, the rotation and the pitching is what kept the Yankees in games when their hitting kind of, goes away in the playoffs when they face really good pitching. So, let's have that good pitching on our side for once outside of Cole. So, yeah. So good Friday, good Yankees baseball, just our instant reactions. So just make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and go Yanks.
Go Yankees, yes.